what's really crucial in understanding the Japanese mobile industry, the success of the mobile web here, is the way the industry is set up, and this is how it works. The carriers basically sit at the core of it all, and they basically develop and maintain the platform infrastructure for everything. But more importantly, they control the handsets. So basically, Docomo goes to NEC or Fujitsu Mitsubishi and says, look, this is what the handset has to look like next season. Otherwise, we're not going to distribute it. But in return for getting that control over the hardware specs, the carriers actually say, look, NEC, you build 2 million of these handsets and we'll buy them from you. And even if we end up just selling 1 million of them, then that's not your problem, that's ours. So basically the handset manufacturers have really relatively low risk compared to a company like Nokia, for example, abroad. And what the carriers also do, which is not that different from what operators in other markets do, is they distribute content through their own menus, their own portals, and they provide the billing for that, and they get a cut of the revenues in return. The handset manufacturers then basically satisfy the carrier standards and requirements and add little things that make their handsets cool and differentiate them from the competition, so they can carve out some market share with unique innovations. The content providers deliver content either just by themselves outside of the carrier portals or through the carrier portal. And the crucial part here is that if they choose to distribute through the carrier, they basically get 90% of the resulting revenues, which is a much different number from the maybe 50%, if you're lucky, that you get from a foreign carrier if you distribute them through them, or even the 70% that you get if you distribute apps through the iTunes App Store or the new coming Nokia OV App Store or any of these other new app stores. So there's a huge incentive for Japanese content providers to make and tailor and distribute content, because they actually get to retain most of the revenues from it. And as a result, we've got a great portfolio of interesting stuff that people then like to use. So I've mentioned that the carrier basically control the handset roadmap, and they buy the production runs from the manufacturers, and they also just control most of the handset distribution, as in the retail channels. So they've got a lot of power. So you could say their role is kind of like this. Basically, they are like Benevolent Dictator. So they've got lots of power, but they don't abuse it. They basically have been able to create a model that benefits all parties in the long term. And although they do have a lot of power, they don't necessarily turn it into anybody's disadvantage.